Today I'm back again to present my third episode of my series I Think So. Do you also? This episode is focused on a very important topic, the forthcoming Indian Union Budget 2021. Just almost 3 to 4 days before the Union Budget, me and other stakeholders of Indian economy say, I think so, to the Finance Minister of our country. The Indian Union Budget 2021 should have these inputs to support the overall recovery in 2021. As I had said in my earlier video, that the invisible monster of COVID-19 totally vanquished every business, trade, industry all over the world in 2020. Not even Indian startups were spared, who had just started. But still, they worked on it. Every sector was brought to a screaming halt. Investment shrank. Almost everyone resorted to layoffs, staycations, and pay cuts to keep their business running. It was a very difficult situation. As a matter of fact, that the Indian Union Budget is just a few days away, our country's startup ecosystem expects that in view of encouraging the foreign investments in India, our Honorable Finance Minister would probably take the steps to reduce and ease the regulation controlling the investments in India, on which I am going to talk during this episode. The first and the foremost and the most important is capital GST rate cuts. Every stakeholder in Indian economy is looking forward to a strong consumption-led budget, having a deep focus on encouraging startups. This is going to have a multiplier effect all over the economy as well. The Indian Union Budget 2021, Honorable Finance Minister is also expected to give a relaxation, a total relaxation on regulations on goods service tax and foreign direct investment to make it easier to do business in India. In the budget 2021, one of the biggest budget reforms for the startups and MSMEs can be GST rate cut, which is too high. As at present, almost every services in our country attract 18% GST, costing very less competitive for a majority of startups and MSME. Thus creating a very difficult situation for them to scale optimally. Every stakeholder of the Indian economy thinks so, that as a solution for lowering the GST rate cuts, government should make DPIIT, Department for Promotion of Industry and Internal Trade, register the startups with them and make them as a special category, making them competitive in the market, ensuring the total success. All are suggesting a figure to be brought down to 5 to 9%, or if possible, maybe less, as that would give them a good space to grow, both vertically and as well as horizontally. In view of the fact, for the startups and MSME, major reliance is on overseas business for sale and consumption of products and their services. It is suggested that the necessary changes shall be made to make low-value foreign transaction easier and economical for startups, as they need to purchase foreign services and products to remain competitive. In addition, it is expressed by various investors who have invested or who want to invest in India that 2021 budget should have emphasis on boost consumption element for the segment that remain totally hit by COVID-19. The sector that took the most beating are like shopping malls, cinema theaters, and restaurants, among other business. They were almost closed. They were almost locked down. They had zero business. Still, they are not happy, but they are trying to survive. In addition to this, there's another factor. There should be a total focus on stability. Total stability. Some stakeholders in the Indian economy think and say, although the government has given them support to both MSME and startups, vis-a-vis Startup India, government e-marketplace, grants and fundings, taxation relaxations, and other schemes. But still more can be done in Indian business budget 2021. Like easing FDI FEMA regulations. FEMA, I would like to elaborate, Foreign Exchange Management Act and Foreign Direct Investment. Making startups and MSMEs an integral part of Atmanirbhar Bharat initiative by our worthy Prime Minister Narendra Modi. And overall ease of doing business, thereby encouraging not only entrepreneurship, but also a total stability with full growth. The third thing is fiscal budgets. We cannot overlook that. It really have a very important place in every planning. If we talk of fiscal budgets, we can say that it is the time-tested fact that all the fiscal budgets are generally growth-driven. But in 2021, due to COVID-19 dent on the business, trade and industry, alongside growth, the focus should also be reinstating the stability to every sector, rendering a total strength to the startup ecosystems and MSME. As a suggestive, adaptable measure can be an immediate promotion of tax deduction or R&D on R&D efforts, R&D expenses. This would not only give strength to the Indian business, but also it would make it more competitive and encourage an overall economy recovery. We cannot forget the sector, real estate. The most important sector, the real estate which helps run almost 100 plus industries connected and related to it. Thus, it is suggested that in the affordable housing segment and encouragement investment, both domestic and foreign, in the real estate would give a very result-oriented system to be utilized by the industry, making possible, not only making possible, but running the 100 plus and connected industry, delivering a very high returns, not only to the employment side and livelihood of millions of the country, but also a very significant contribution to the national economy and exchequer, national exchequer. It has been seen in earlier years also that real estate plays a big role in recovery of economy and confidence of every citizen of the country. The next would be compliance cost. Reduction in compliance cost is very eminently required. This is the factor that can diminish returns. Is that the compliance cost for small investment into startups and MSME has increased because at the moment all fund flow in India and Indian business are coming under preview of Reserve Bank of India. Therefore, changes are required to make smaller investment more cost efficient. Smaller investment should be made more cost efficient. Moreover, the current compliance norms are complicated, very complicated. People are really scared of it, which are detrimental to the foreign investors' interest to invest in India. The cost, the compliance, the regulations are really deterring investors, particularly small investors. If we want to see boost in volume of investment by foreign investor, particularly in the small sector, or in the funded startup who have already been funded by them, then a very serious and deep consideration shall be given to this factor to incorporate changes in the Indian budget 2021 to make smaller investments more cost efficient for the foreign investors. It is also estimated that the suggested relaxations in RBI related norms can really boost FDI inflow. Maybe small can make a big amount, big volume into the segment that can help create more than 200 plus unicorns in India by 2025. Further, some stakeholders of Indian economy also feel that there are two modifications which are required to be done in the regulations and are put in place in the Indian Budget 2021, then Indian ratings can go up many times on ease of doing business as well as self-reliance. The first one is capital gains. They all have very high hopes in the Indian Budget 2021. An institution of rule of equalization of capital gain taxes from listed and unlisted equities would render a level playing field for domestic pool of capital to move forward to the startup ecosystem. The second would be overseas listing of startups. It is very strong factor for establishment and success of every startup. It is also an expectation that direct overseas listing norms will reflect equivalence with those existing for startups listing from anywhere else in the world to bring foreign pools of capital to Indian shores and discourage Indian startups from changing their location. The Indian administrative system lags behind, it totally lags behind the other countries in enforcement of contracts that hinders the conduct of business. The government agencies that deal with the public, sometime during the peak filing season, the downtime of websites of these agencies experienced by the people is a big detrimental fact of life of Indian startup ecosystems. An improvement in this area is of a paramount importance to ensure the steady growth of not only startups but also every business, trade and industry in India, giving a thumbs up in ease of doing business to every foreign investor, the present and the potential both. Last but not the least, I would call them mavericks who had been working through lockdowns, keeping the kitchen fires of millions on and saving them from starvation. They are both founders of startup and MSME and their investors who both now in 2021 are keeping their fingers crossed. They're keeping their fingers crossed for the budget to make specific announcements that will give these sectors a further push. I can name EdTech, FinTech, Logistics, Agritech and cryptocurrency. All these witnessed boom, whereas every other business took a very strong beating during pandemic COVID-19 in 2020. I hope the suggestions conveyed by me and also on behalf of various stakeholders of Indian economy would be taken up to the right quarters, helping the Indian startup ecosystem and MSME to grow with stability, of working with total support of transparent administrative system of concerned quarters of the Government of India, helping them to achieve the dream of making India a word factory by 2024, making India a number 2 economy of the world, surpassing Indonesia. Thus, achieving a long cherished dream of our worthy Prime Minister Narendra Modi and his able team, giving us the promised Achhe Din to all Indians in 2021 and thereafter, very soon. Thank you very much. Jai Hind.